How's everybody this morning? Awake and ready, that's the word. All right. Can't be sleepy and listen to these teachings. Our gurus have made sure that everything we do is with power, so that when we assimilate these teachings, it's not just, as Swami says, just this saccharine sweetness ki kuch bhi ho raha hai, chalte raho. Kuch nahi hone wala hai, unless we allow it. And that is our great friend here, Shiva. That's who he is. Kuch nahi hoga unless I allow it. Shiva is a very interesting character in our pantheon. He's a being of lots of contradictions. He is completely in his spine. You know, nobody can move him. But then if he's moved, he has tremendous power. Immediately, boom, destroy, khatam. He is a yogi, he is a renunciate, he's supposedly a celibate, but he's a householder. He's married, he has 2 kids. He's like a lot of us here. 2 bachche bhi hain uske. Even Vishnu doesn't have kids. Unless he does, and I don't know of. We are all his kids. But Shiva's just very interesting because we think of him as, you know, just this far off removed thing. But he's actually more like us in many ways than we'd ever think. And he's simple. He does not live in Vaikunt and he does not live in luxury. He lives in the mountains, in caves, in complete simplicity. Even Parvati lives in simplicity with him. Just very, very much a renunciate at heart. Because he's a yogi. You know, Shiva was never actually a god in the beginning. The pantheon of Indian gods, you know, they evolve. And eventually, somewhere in there, they realized, yeah, this guy is pretty awesome. You know, let's bring him over to our side. Let's give him a nice little cozy cushion position as part of the Trinity. But he was always a yogi and a renunciate. He was never God in that typical sense that we believe in. He's pleased so easily, yet he can't be pleased at all. That's his contradictory power. But his contradictions aren't where he is at war with his contradictions. He has integrated his contradictions. He's completely brought them into his spine where he chooses when and what is appropriate. At what time in my life, what action is appropriate. Bringing both those energies into the spine. And it's the same with the story of Mahashivratri. There are so many contradictory stories. You know, everywhere I look, somebody says it's because of this reason, somebody says it's because of that reason. And you can see it's people who want to make Shiva more like them. For the householders, Mahashivratri is about his wedding. For those who are seeking power worldly, it's about Shiva's dominance over Vishnu and over Brahma. But for the yogi, and which is especially as a Kriya yogi, the story of Mahashivratri is the story of the churning of the oceans. Samudra Manthan. Do you know that story?
Aho.
Huh?
Yeah.
Did you say Aho? Okay. So in that story, for those of you who are already familiar with it or not so much, the Devas and the Asuras, as usual, what are they doing?
Fighting.
They're fighting. We know this story. We have this fight within us all the time. Our good qualities want to express themselves, but laziness and rudeness and unkindness and selfishness and everything wants to also take dominance within us. So there's this constant battle, this constant fight within us. The interesting thing about the Devas and the Asuras are that they are born of the same father. They have 2 different mothers, but so they're brothers, essentially. They're family, just like we are. We're family within. Even our negative qualities are just as much part of us as our positive qualities are. But now what's happening in this particular case, the Devas are losing. So what does that mean? That our negative qualities are taking precedence. We're getting more easily angry, irritated, selfish, more self-dominating perhaps. And all that downward flow of energy within us. You see, we talk about the ups and downs of life. There are actually ups and downs within us, because when the energy in the spine flows up, we experience these elevated, upward, joyful, positive qualities. And we can see it even in my body. If I just go up, if I inhale, anytime somebody tells me something that's joyful, I'll just go up, because there's this natural upward flow. And anytime, something's not working out in the way we would like it to, the energy falls down. It's an actual process taking place within us. This is the reactive process. I like this, I don't like this. This is good, this is bad. Great, oh no. And this is the reactive process of duality. It keeps us in duality. So essentially what's happening here is the story of the Devas and Asuras are a story of duality trying to play itself out. So kabhi Asuras jeetenge, to kabhi Devas jeetenge. Kabhi they will say, oh, now everything is wonderful when good things happen in our life. I've just gotten promoted. The Devas are back. They're ruling now my kingdom. And I just got demoted or fired or whatever. Or the auto guy kind of, sped past me in a way that I didn't appreciate it. The Asuras are in dominion now, have taken over. And this fight is going on all the time. Now when the Samudra Manthan moment comes, now the Devas, they're a little down. The beauty of the Devas is that they draw their power from a higher source, whereas the Asuras don't. Therefore, for a fact, eventually the Devas are always going to come on top. So they're wondering, how am I going to get through this? And Vishnu, of course, always the intermediary, says, look for the Amrit, look for immortality. And once you have that, you'll be stronger than the Asuras. But in order to get to that Amrit, what do you need? You need the Asuras. Just the Devas were not churning the ocean. Both of them were churning the ocean. Because it's too big a job to do yourself just by one aspect of your being. It's too big a job. So you need to have both aspects of your being involved. But this doesn't mean that you have to have your negative qualities involved as well, because here comes the yogic understanding, especially for the Kriya Yogi, because we in the practice of Kriya, what do? We use the energy in the Ida and the Pingala. In the Ida, energy rises up. In the Pingala, energy rises down. We use both the energies. We're not saying ki bas Ida mein hi ghuste rahenge. Both the energies, and we increase their power until both energies are neutralized. Because in God, even positive qualities are just qualities. They're still outward. They're still dual. They will never become singular in the divine. So here the Samudra Manthan takes place. They get this mountain called Mandhara. Very appropriate name. Man, the mind. Dhara, hold firmly. Mind held firmly in meditation, deeply concentrated. That's the mountain, the spine. Then they bring in Vasuki, who is the snake. And the snake acts as the rope for the churning. Makhan banaya kabhi kisi ne. I guess nowadays we don't need to do that stuff. But I remember when I used to go to my grandmother's village, and she would make butter for us, and she'd churn the milk for the butter. Similarly, the rope acts as that churning. Now, of course, the snake represents the Kundalini. But the two outward aspects of the Kundalini are the Ida and the Pingala. And on one side, you've got the Devas pulling. On the other side, you've got the Asuras pulling. So the energy rises up when the Devas pull. The energy descends down when the Asuras pull. And this process needs to take place in Kriya. Very powerfully. You know how long they were at the Manthan? 1,000 years, it says. So मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि okay निकला कि नहीं निकला. 1,000 years these guys were doing nothing but heaving and hoeing on a snake, wrapped around a mountain. I mean, it makes no sense until you realize it makes perfect sense inside me. Because we go through this, we'll keep doing this. There's no end to it. We'll keep going up and down until finally we say, no more. And we take control of that reactive process. So what happens when this churning starts? So what does the ocean represent? Our consciousness. In meditation, we're churning our consciousness to see kya nikalta hai, who am I, what's within me. Because we don't know. I mean, we don't know who we are. We think we're this, that, this, husband, wife, son, brother, mother, man, woman, Indian, Spanish, Dutch. I mean, what is this? These temporal realities, how long will we identify with them? Who are we? And we can't know who we are unless we don't churn the depths of our being. ऐसा नहीं पता चलेगा. You won't be walking and गलती से you'll see a piece of paper and it'll tell you कौन हो तुम. Oh, acha, I'm God, okay. It's going to have to come from within you. So once this churning begins, lots of stuff starts coming out. What comes out? Who knows the story? We don't need to go through each of them because I probably don't remember either. But good stuff comes out. Siddhis come out, sabse pehle to, powers. And Vishnu had already told the Devas, you don't go for those because you keep your eye on the ball. And so the Asuras, because that's it. First and foremost, people who meditate want something from their meditation. I want this, I want that. And when we read the stories of the yogis, then we really, I want to manifest the, Chintamani, and I want to do this and I want to do that. I want to have complete control over this and over that, which is mostly over others. I want to be able to change my husband or my wife. I want to be able to change the situation. This is what outward power represents. And that's what comes out pehle. Aata hai, nikalta hai. But that's like the chindi. That's like you don't want that at all. Because that's the trap. You can get caught up and then you can play this game all over again. Ludo ki tarah, snake upar pahunchne wale hai, saap, last wala saap kha leta hai and it brings you all the way back down. Snakes and ladders. That final snake is the deadliest. Longest also. Yeah. Brings you pretty much back to square one. And that's, Yogananda said, also a big delusion on the spiritual path. That people come in hoping to gain power. But that goes. Aata hai, chala jata hai. Other things, lovely things come. Lakshmi comes. The wish-fulfilling cow comes. Good stuff starts to come out. Everybody's super happy. Everybody's like, mujhe chahiye, mujhe chahiye, mujhe chahiye. Vishnu takes Lakshmi away. All that stuff happens. And then what comes? Vish. Poison. Poison comes out from the churning of the ocean. And this poison is so strong, its fumes, the moment it comes out, its fumes threaten to just completely destroy the world. Devas, Asuras, all alike are coughing and, not wanting to inhale these fumes. It's so powerful, this poison. What is this poison? Hamare andar poison hai? We have some poison, something inside us. In fact, we have a lot of stuff inside us. And in the process of your churning, this stuff is going to come out. Have you ever meditated and got up and immediately gotten angry at the first person who has come to you? It happens because churning mein sab acha nahi niklega. Sab kuch niklega. Everything must be completely drawn out of this ocean of consciousness. And we think, why am I getting angry? And in fact, now I feel more angry than when I started to meditate. It happens, it's a temporary experience. I don't want to put people off meditation by saying that. But that's what happens. Everything within us comes out. Our karma, our deepest, darkest, ugliest side, निकलेगा ही, अंदर है तो निकलना ही पड़ेगा. It's not going to just magically vanish. And what happens the moment this poison comes out? Everybody is like, नहीं चाहिए, दूर रखो मुझसे. Our first thing is to reject. Our first thing is, I don't want this karma, I don't want it to be hard, I only want to be this beautiful self of my meditation, I should be perfect and I should be smiling and I should be joyful all the time. But that wish is part of you, it's who you are. It's not, कहीं और से नहीं आया, it's not become some, गलती किसी ने गलती से डाल दिया while you were not looking. You very much were looking and you very much brought it in. So, but when this thing comes out, everyone's rejecting it. Devas and asuras alike, किसी को नहीं चाहिए. Which is an interesting thing. Who comes to the rescue?
Shiva.
Lord Shiva. Why can Shiva take that on him? Why is Shiva so joyfully, so no big deal, takes the poison and then stops it at his throat, is the story. Neelkant, that is why he is. His throat becomes blue because of it. Because he can integrate contradictions. He does not reject one over the other. One's not better than the other. He can completely integrate it into himself and yet not be touched by it. The poison didn't affect Shiva. He didn't become poisonous because of it. He brought it in, he held it because he has perfect control. Absolutely perfect control. Every aspect of Shiva's being represents that. We have his moon on his head. The moon is the ego. And in depictions, when the moon is brought up to the Sahasrara, means the ego is completely merged. There is no identity other than your identification with the infinite. He's got the Ganges flowing through him. The story that the Ganges was going to come and flood the earth, and the only person who could stop its enormous power was Shiva when he takes the Ganges in his jata. And he controls its power. Now, of course, the Ganges represents, he was called Gangadhar because of it. The Ganges represents, again, that same inner flow of energy that has risen up to the top, but it can be chaotic and it can be destructive if not channeled and if not controlled. Even Shiva, we think Shiva is the destroyer, but he gave us Ganga, life-giving Ganga. He took the wish away from the world when the world could have been destroyed. Shiva could have been sitting, ha 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 ha, my job is done. This wish is going to destroy the world. But he is the preserver of the yogi. He's not the preserver of the world of creation. He is the preserver of the yogi and the destroyer of Maya. They're two very different, distinct realities. And it's important for us as we tune into Shiva to feel that, to tune in not to his destructive side alone, but to tune into his empowering side. For the yogi, Shiva empowers. And this Shivratri, we want to tune into that. And especially on a very, very practical note, we want to tune into this chakra. This is where the wish was. Kya nikalta hai hamara wish? Our words. Our words are, they say, mightier than swords. Although pens, they say, are mightier than swords, but I think words are more mighty. Because they really cut. They really hurt. And we need to watch that wish here. And what else is the fifth chakra? The fifth chakra is the chakra of calmness. It is a very powerful thing. हमको लगता है calmness मतलब बस बच्चों की तरह बस कुछ नहीं हो रहा है. इतना power लगता है just to be calm. पूछो नहीं. And this is how Shiva was able to integrate the negative through calm acceptance. This is who it is. This is what there is. I joyfully, calmly accept it. You take away the power of the poison if you already calmly accept it. It has no power over you anymore. And that is what Shivratri is about. Calmly accepting all aspects of your life which otherwise you would reject. And integrating them, learning from them, growing from them, and becoming like Shiva from them. Not after they are gone, but through their own power. They have an inherent power in themselves. So let's tune into that, not just Shiva hai, koi Mount Kailash mein baitha hai. Tune into you as Shiva and what that means for you here especially. Now, how are you going to use your words? How are you going to use your poison to uplift, as the affirmation said, my power to transform myself and to awaken others? Many blessings.